We have been getting super heavy lately, haven't we? Well, you know what? Let's lighten this up just a touch with a fun coming-of-age story. I mean, there's not much weight to be had in one of those, right? Think again. Although, you know what? Don't worry. We're done with politics for, like, the next month. Mostly. But then more zombie films! Anyway, I love me some coming-of-age comedies. It's a genre that I truly thought that I would outgrow, and, you know, granted, I've become much more discerning in my age. I mean, I'm pretty sure I still only love Road Trip because of nostalgia, but when you find something special, you latch onto it.
Jim, I want to talk about masturbation.
You get excited about it, you talk about it, and hopefully, you stick around to listen to a pop culture junkie gush about it. So let's get into talking about Booksmart, the female and much deeper version of Superbad.
So, please don't knock over my heart, 'cause my heart is full of you. Yeah, my heart is full of you. And don't worry about tomorrow, 'cause my heart is full of you. Yeah, my heart is full of you.
Booksmart was the 2019 directorial debut of Olivia Wilde. Okay, so not really directorial debut, but the first 3 director credits were only short films. It was decently successful, bringing in $24.9 million against a $6 million budget, but the unfortunate thing is that outside of certain circles, not a whole lot of people seem to know about this movie. We know American Pie. We know Porky's. We certainly know Superbad. You know, it seems like there is one definitive coming-of-age film that makes its way out every 10 years or so. All of those films that I just mentioned were cemented within their respective decades, and I'm here to say that Booksmart not only is the coming-of-age film for this decade, but I dare say that it stands out amongst the others. If only for Gigi.
Fucking spin, Jared!
At least take the heels off.
Fucking spin!
Okay, let's talk cast for just a second to bring you in case you need some convincing to check this film out. We've got Caitlin Dever, we've got Beanie Feldstein, Billy Lord, Jason Sudeikis, Lisa Kudrow, Will Forte, and that's just to name a few people, and they make use of these amazing actors and actresses to convey themes that are just as powerful and just as resonant and hit just as hard as more serious coming-of-age films like Lady Bird or 8th Grade. One of them being our own perceptions of reality. Molly and Amy are the good girls. You know the type. They've spent the majority of their high school careers hanging out in the library, studying for tests, and basically doing absolutely nothing wrong. Never coloring outside the lines one bit. Now, I can say that I should have done better in high school. Most of us can look back on those years and think that. I mean, I basically fucked off for an entire year, and in the end, I was 0.3 of a point away from making the National Honor Society. Even though it may sound smart, still something that is a sand in my crotch because I broke a rule that I spent way too long learning. Everything in moderation. Molly and Amy learned that fact when their worlds are shattered. They spent their entire high school careers being basically socially frigid while they studied and worked toward their end goals of getting into good colleges. That's great! Good for them, seriously! But where their worlds became shattered is when they found out that their hard-partying, socially vivacious classmates all got into great schools too. Even Gigi.
Gigi! Where the fuck are you going to school next year?
Don't judge me, it was my 5th choice. Harvard.
4 years of high school. They're in 4 years of high school, the entirety of their middle school. Their most formative years were spent studying to achieve their goals. They sacrificed so many experiences just to achieve those goals, so when they find out that they didn't need to, the movie can officially begin. And that movie is The Stereotype. One last night of high school, and one more chance to prove that they can live it up with the best of them at the coolest party. The stakes have never been higher because, let's be honest, everything in high school is high stakes, isn't it? And Olivia Wilde tapped into that beautifully. Everything in high school is so do or die because that's what adolescence is. It's life or death because that school and your classmates basically are your world. How are you supposed to react when everything you have been working towards, everything that you thought made you you, ends up being just run-of-the-mill? Amy and Molly thought that they were superior because of the choices that they made, but everything in moderation. That doesn't just mean goofing off. That also means being academically and personally rigid. Study, yes. Pursue knowledge, of course. But always be moving forward. Do what you have to do to reach the end game that you have set for yourself. But leave time to be a kid. And that's just as true at 34 as it is at 14. Leave time for fun and time to smile. Something that Molly and Amy didn't do. So now, with one night left, they're off. I love the music choices in this movie, by the way. They make everything bigger than life. And then the record scratches and we see the truth.
What? Excuse me? Oh. What? What? Missed ya. I missed you.
Even with Gigi.
Money, I got money. Money, I got money.
You alright?
And that truth is, the other movies that I've discussed, you know, the other coming of age movies, they're great, problematic, but fun. But though they have human moments, the characters can be broken down into stereotypes and caricatures. I mean, seriously, Stifler, come on. Those movies resonate because of the human moments given to them, but the truth is in the struggle there. Sure, Superbad had realized characters, but they can still be boiled down to stereotypes despite their personal growth. Booksmart starts as something similar. Everyone in it is just so dialed up. Amy's parents, Principal Brown, Jordan Principal Brown is his father, George, Jared, Gigi.
What the? Christ. Fuck. God.
Guys, the re-election is coming up and I need to know if I have to buy your votes.
Everything is a neon-colored fantasy and everyone is just so superfluous. Come on guys, let's make that the new extra. Until they're not. Let me explain this using a superhero, okay? If there is something that I will always point to with respect, it is the single shot scene. Let's look at one of my favorite scenes in any media of all time. The fight scene in Daredevil Season 1, Episode 2. I mean, this is only a snippet of it, but it shows an actual fight here. Not an invincible superhuman with stamina for years. You can see Matt Murdock getting tired and wobbly and starting to make mistakes as he continues to fight the Russian gangsters. This scene right here is the same caliber to me. One long single shot where the movie stops being about the lulls and starts showing the truth underneath the facade. Molly totally has a thing for Nick, and Amy obviously has the hots for Ryan. Also, shout out to the exceptionally well done LGBTQ representation here. Seriously, major shout out. After seeing Ryan and Nick kissing in the pool, Amy tries to get Molly to leave to spare her friend the heartache of having to learn that fact, only to unintentionally start a fight. This scene is astounding to me because not only do the actresses have to remember all of their lines, continue acting, and be present in the moment, but we see it all. Think about it. In almost every single fight that you can think of on camera, you never see the reaction shot. You see the person throwing the jabs and screaming, but you don't see how those words affect someone in the moment. It almost feels sometimes like the film is protecting us from the raw, naked vulnerability. Olivia Wilde does no such thing here, and we watch these friends come to blows. That's when it hit me. Much like the water hitting Gigi.
I'm into the future!
Let's escape through!
No. Gigi?
I love Billie Lourd so damn much, but there's a reason why I keep circling back to her, and it has a lot to do with this scene here. See, I get Gigi, and I get Jared.
No one in this entire school knows me at all.
Because at many points in my life, I have been them. Specifically, I've been Gigi.
Come here.
How?
I'm gonna go downstairs.
No. Bye, Gigi.
Booksmart is about masks. It's the facade that we present to the world and the truth that lies beneath it. Amy acts like a dutiful friend and basically like a follower. She's worked her whole high school life to get into a good school and is taking a year off, much to Molly's dismay. AAA never lets anything get to her, but
I didn't think the girls would too.
you start to see that the faces that we have been seeing through the duration of the film are largely just masks. AAA doesn't let anything get to her, but Annabelle does care. Molly is so incredibly insecure that she becomes queen bee to a hive of one. Amy is lost in her life and so scared of living it because, oh god, what if she makes a mistake? But that's the beauty that they learn on this last night. Mistakes are fine when you learn the lessons. Why do we wear masks? Why do we put on a facade? Ultimately, it's out of fear and feelings of inadequacy. Fear of moving on, of not doing everything you wanted in the time that you had to do it. FOMO for sure. Fear of not being the person you truly feel that you are. And probably the most acute fear of all is the fear of not being understood. Of dropping your guard and letting people see and know who you truly are. Someone could tell by the look on your face that you're not okay, but why do you hesitate or feign something else when you're called out on it? Why do you put on a mask? Because the fear of showing who you truly are and what you truly fear can sometimes be too much. Because it's easier to be a braggadocious caricature than to admit to someone that you don't feel like you're enough. Jared. I love Jared because he is so unabashedly who he is with Molly here. Frankly, I love Jared in the entire movie. These moves, come on. They're iconic. Really, I love Jared in the entire film because, look at these moves right here. He's the first one to take his mask down and let someone besides Gigi see the real him. Jared is probably the most realized character because he knows truly who he is and what he's actually working toward.
I want to design fucking airplanes. Yeah, get rich off that, then use the cash to produce some new musicals. Enough with the revivals already. It's total bullshit. Audiences deserve something original.
All of these kids have no idea what's in store for them once they leave those high school halls. This world, the world of high school, is the only one that they know, and as said before, as I remember it, high school was do or die. So to get by, sometimes you aren't actually yourself. See, I told you that I got Gigi because I was Gigi, and that is true. And sometimes that even remains true. Being the loud guy at the party was one of the many shades of Robbie, and I don't mean that I didn't enjoy having fun at parties. I mean that sometimes you act a certain way because you're covering something up.
She's a sad person, you know?
You're covering up your fear. You're covering up your inadequacies. Masks come in all shapes and sizes, but the danger comes when you wear it for too long. No man can wear one face to himself and one to the multitudes without at some point becoming bewildered as to which one may be true. That's the danger and the beauty of high school, and something that no other coming-of-age film has truly been able to convey yet. So what's the mask that you've had to put on? Has it been recent? Has it been a while? And where have you put it on? At work? At the store? On Facebook even? We all wear them. There's nothing wrong with it, but everything in moderation, right? I usually try to end these videos with a little nugget of wisdom, but you know what? I'm gonna let Molly sing me out today.
And I may not have before, but I see you now. And you're all pretty great.